Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12th Microsoft NextGen Heroes session with the topic of Intune Essentials, deploying apps with confidence. So basically, today we have a special guest with us, and we'll have a super interesting topic in which all you Intune enthusiasts, I'll guess you'll have a wonderful time, and also you'll have the chance to learn from an expert who is definitely into this topic a lot more than we are. And also here to help him is the one and only, and also one of our best colleagues here, Nicholas Olsen. So let's dig into the agenda. So first, as we usually do, and as you all know, we'll have the introduction to the host. So basically, I'll introduce myself, and then I'll give the floor to Marco, so that you all who are new to this platform we can make a connection between each other, and also to get to know better, to get to know each other better. Then we'll go on with Microsoft Learn. So just a quick intro to Microsoft Learn and the new platform that they have just released. Marco will talk about how you can join a learning room, and also what are the benefits of using the Microsoft Learn communities to enhance your learning experience. Then the most interesting part for all of you will be our special guest, Nicholas Lorenzen, and we'll give him time and space to present himself, and also to do a very interesting demo for all of you here. Then we'll have a Q&A session at the end, and finally we'll conclude the event, and we'll mention something about our next event, which will be just less than a month from now, so around 11th of December. So be sure to register for that one too. We'll start promoting it from tomorrow. Nevertheless, let's go with the introductions. So hello everyone again. My name is Bojan Ivanovski. I'm a software engineer, currently doing my master's at Barcelona Technology School. Currently studying big data and AI, and also that's one of my passions when it comes to technology. I'm an active Microsoft Learn student ambassador, and together with Nicholas and Marco, we're trying to spread the tech vibes everywhere we go. Also, something more about my other passions is that I'm a DevOps enthusiast, an Azure AI enthusiast, and especially I love automating processes and making them even better and even more efficient. So that was a little recap about me. Now I would like to give the floor to Marco, so that he could introduce himself and lead the session from now.
Yes, thank you, Bojan. This was a wonderful introduction so far. And hello to everyone who has joined us today. My name is Marco Atanasov. Currently, I'm a software engineering student in Skopje, Macedonia. And I'm also a junior DevOps engineer at Macedonian Telecom. Basically, since I joined university, and once I got to know the IT world, I quickly fell in love with DevOps and all the tools that are being used in the everyday life of a DevOps engineer. I love the cloud, I love automation, I love Jenkins, I love Kubernetes, and it's really fun for me to be in such a fun environment every day and work and improve my skills. Without further ado, I would like to tell you a bit more about Microsoft Learn and why we all do this. And basically, if you haven't joined our community, you can join on techcommunity.microsoft.com. This is a new site that we created recently, and we are part of a bigger community. We are part of a bigger community that has more than 6,000 members, and there are also many other communities that are part of Microsoft Learn, so you can go and check them all out and see what fits you best. So our speakers today are Nicholas and Nicholas. These two guys are Intune masters. They have a lot more experience than we do in that area, and they're sort of experts in this field. And I am sure that they'll share all the knowledge they have with all you guys. So I will kindly invite Nicholas and Nicholas to the stage, and yeah, guys, smash it.
Yeah, thank you, Bojan and Marco. So let's see if we can share our presentation. All right, perfect. So
be there now.
Great. So welcome to our session about Intune Essentials, deploying apps with confidence. So yeah, I'm really happy that Niklas and I can get the chance to speak in this great community. And Niklas is speaking here as well for the first time. So this is really a great experience. But let's get started. So myself, I'm Niklas Olsen. I'm a consultant at Today, and I'm 22 years old, and I'm a former Microsoft Learn student ambassador. So basically, in my daily work, I specialize in endpoint management and security. And other than that, I'm a Microsoft MVP in the Intune category. And in my free time, I use a lot of my time diving into Microsoft Intune, speak at events, blog about Intune as well, of course. And you can visit my blog on learnintune.net. So yeah, Niklas.
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. It's nice that we both have the same name. It's nice and easy for everyone to remember. So yeah, my name is Nicholas Lorentzen. I'm 31 years old, so an old man, I would like to say. I'm working as a senior consulting at Today. I have been there for the last 2 years. I've been working as a consultant for the last 7 years in the Microsoft Modern Workplace and security space. So I've been doing a lot of different projects throughout the years. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So before we start to talk about some of all the fun things, and Nicholas have a demo later on, I would like to go through some of the necessary things before we start deploying applications in this scenario. So the first things are packaging formats, and what I like to talk about here is the different tools we have. We have PowerShell as a deployment tool, third-party tools, and we can upload the applications directly into the portal, as we will also show later on. What we need to have before we start is guidelines, so that everyone in the team is aware of how we are doing things in Intune and which tool we are going to use. So we don't end up with one using PowerShell and another one using a third-party tool, and then they are mixing the applications that we are trying to deploy. Then another essential in this is the naming convention. In the application space, it's quite easy to have the naming conventions. It's typically just the name of the application and then the version number. But we can also look at the configuration profiles, which is another topic. But the naming convention there is very useful what we can win from the naming conventions are searchability in the portal. If we have a lot of application, we can easily find, for instance, Google Chrome, if that's what we're searching for. We can see which version numbers we have deployed. And a good thing to use is update as a prefix, so we know if it's the whole application or it's just an update to an already deployed application. Some of the pitfalls in not having a naming convention is, of course, the searchability, as I just mentioned. When we are multiple people using the same tool, then if you have a naming convention yourself, then maybe another user is not aware of that, and you're mixing up everything. And then don't use anything generic like app1. Just call it what it is. Yes, and the last part here is the responsibilities, and that is the procedures in application deployment. So who is everyone deploying apps? Which tools are we using? And of course, how are users going to get an app deployed? The application approval flow. Do you have, for instance, an ITSM system where users can request applications, so we don't end up having one application in one department and another application for another department that is more or less doing the same thing? Because when we are deploying applications, we need to test, we need to see we can install the application. If it needs to be in silent, we need to see that it's not doing any restarts for the users when we are deploying it. We need to be sure that we can uninstall the application right, and we need to make sure that we can update the application. Also, if you have any applications required in, for instance, autopilot in the enrollment status page, we need to make sure that the application can run in that context also. One of the pitfalls in not having these procedures, for instance, with the application flow, approval flow, is that if the users have the opportunity to use admin by request, for instance, any tool that can elevate them, they will just install the applications themselves, and then we have a lot of applications that isn't patched at all. All the support is doing this for them, installing applications manually, what we also call shadow IT. Yeah, I think that was what I had here. And yeah, Niklas.
Yeah, so basically there's many different app types in Intune, but mainly in this session today we will cover what kind of apps are available for Windows devices. And also, as of now, these app types are available for Windows devices in Intune. And just to go quickly through them all, so we have Microsoft Store apps, and that kind of app type you might already know. It's a lot of apps from the normal Microsoft Store, as you might know from your own device. Then we have Microsoft 365 apps, which is a built-in opportunity for you to deploy Microsoft 365 apps directly from the portal without doing any customization. You can pick the basic Office 365 apps, and then you can add all the other apps that requires additional licensing as well. And then we have Microsoft Edge, Windows Web Link, and the last two is Line of Business App, LOB, and then we have Windows App Win32. And Line of Business App and Windows App is something that we will touch base on a little bit more later on. And if you have worked with Intune before, you might have been in a place where you had to decide between those two as well. So let's try to take a look at those two and compare them as well. So basically, let's talk a little bit about the differences here between Line of Business App and Win32 app. So first of all, we have the control with Win32 apps. So basically, with Win32 apps, you get a lot more control. An example is that you can specify the requirements for your devices that needs to get this app. It could be the operating system architecture. It could be a minimum operating system version as well. But there's also an opportunity to do custom detection rules and a lot more as well. Another great thing as well with Win32 is that it supports different file types. So you can actually do exe, you can do MSI, but you can also do more complex installations as well that could require several installation files. And also another thing with, or the thing with line of business app is that it's just easy and quick. You can gather an MSI file, upload it directly to the portal without wrapping it as an Intune bin file. And then you basically have to write in the name, and then that's it. You perhaps have to put in some parameters that the app has to use in order to install, but that's about it. You don't have to think too much about how to customize the app or anything. So that's nice and easy, but it doesn't give you the same opportunities as we have with Win32. So my personal favorite is definitely the Win32 app because it gives you more control. You can deploy much more complex applications, but you can also do a lot more reliable experience as well for the users, because if you use only Win32 apps, then you have a guideline, as Niklas mentioned before. But if you mix and match line of business apps with Win32, then you might have some issues. And the issues basically is that when you use autopilot, so many of us might already know autopilot, autopilot v1 and v2, but it could also be named as Windows Autopilot or device preparation policies as well. And basically, to start off with, what is the actual issue with a mix of line of business app and Win32? So in Windows Autopilot or Autopilot v1, as someone is saying as well, is that if you mix and match line of business app and Win32 apps in Autopilot v1, then it can potentially conflict because those app types are not talking together. So what could happen is that a Win32 app is deploying and then a line of business app is deploying at the same time, which could cause a conflict and make your whole deployment fail as well. And that's because Win32 app is using the Intune management extension for the installation, and the line of business app isn't. And that's basically an issue in v1, but if you're using device preparation or Autopilot v2, it's actually possible now to mix line of business app and Win32 app, so you will not see these conflicts anymore. So that's something to be aware of if you're using either one of them. But again, I would not recommend in any way to mix them. In my opinion, you should be using Win32 wherever possible. So basically at all times. So that's basically my opinion around live business app and Win32 and also the differences as well. So next up is not potential app types, but we have to touch base on also how to deploy apps. And I think me and Niklas and a lot of other people as well are very familiar with PS80T or PS App Deploy Toolkit. And why are we actually talking about it when we talk about application deployment? So basically, PS80T is a framework for application deployment that contains a lot of predefined functions, variables, and it just makes life a lot easier for IT. And when you work in IT, you just want things to be very easy, and you don't have to struggle a lot with these things. So with these functions and variables, we don't have to be a PowerShell ninja in any way. So that's just great. And apart from that, it's also very easy to use, and it's very well documented as well. And that makes it very easy for the next person to look at the code as well. We might have, everyone might have been in a position where someone have to look at a code that they haven't written, and when they do that, it's not properly documented, which makes it very difficult for the guy to look at it. And that's where PS80T comes into the picture, because all the functions and variables are documented already. So that's really a great thing. And recently, just to quickly touch base on this one, is that there has been a major upgrade of the PS80T framework from version 3 to 4. So the version 4 has a lot of great new things in it. So if you're not already using it, you should definitely consider it. So some of the things that are included in the new version is the PowerShell module, and you don't have to use or don't have to include the service UI now because it's built in. So if you have to display anything to the end user, it's already built in. And you can also use the PowerShell module as for remediation, something Niklas will show a little bit later on. So yeah, there's some really cool features here in the new version. So let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, and I will just briefly tell about the structure in the PowerShell App Deployment Toolkit. What we get when we download the toolkit. The Invoke App Deploy Toolkit, the first one we see, is the one we use in our install commands in Intune. So the one we call using our installation for it to run in the right syntax or context, sorry, when it's going to unpackage the Invoke App Deploy Toolkit PS1. Then we have support files where we can put in our supporting files for our installation, like registry keys, certificates, license files, XML files, whatever we have, who's going to support the deployment we have. And the one we need the most is the last one called files, where we will put our MSI or exe files for the application itself. Yeah. And in the structure of the PowerShell module, it's a bit different. We have the same logic and the same commandlets as in the toolkit, but it shouldn't be used for deploying applications as we will see later on, but it should be used for automation and testing in PowerShell. One of the cool things we can use as well is the remediation in Intune, as I will just show after this. Yeah. So let's just jump to that. So in the remediation, we have, of course, our detection script that needs to be run first. So we need to make sure that if the module is installed, it needs to find the module. If it's installed, it needs to either go update see if there's an update, and if there's an update, update it. If it isn't installed, then of course install it. Yeah, that we got right there. So it needs to update the module, and then if it's not installed, it don't have anything to update, then it should install it. This needs to be installed for all the users in our environment before we can use remediation. So what we have done previously is just deploying this as detection and remediation, and from then on we can put in simple remediations like this one right here. This is not the detection, but what needs to be run afterwards. So we can use we can import the module to have the commandlets, and then a one-liner, as we see on the last line, just to uninstall the application that we are looking for. In this, for instance, it's Java, which we don't want on any devices at all. So very nice to be able to use one-liners this way in remediation. Yeah. Also, in the toolkit, we have structure, as I talked about in the first slide. So we have some guidelines, like the variables for app vendor, app name, app version. So the next one who is going to look at the script knows exactly which version we are talking about in the script, which vendor, and so on. So this is very nice to fill out for the next person also, and also for yourself. If you're in doubt, you don't need to deploy the application to see all the information if you keep the script updated. And of course, in the more exciting stuff, we have some pre-steps, the main installation, and then some post installation. In this screenshot, it's just it's for uninstallation, but we have the same for the install, like pre-main and post tasks. It needs to be done. Yeah.
So if you are using PSADT version 3 right now, you actually have the possibility to upgrade all of your existing deployments to version 4. Fairly simple. So if you already have a lot of deployments that are using version 3, you can use a very simple PowerShell module that can test whether your deployment is compatible to upgrade to version 4. And if it is, then you can do convert ADT deployment, and then it will actually convert the whole folder, but it can also only convert your deploy application.ps1 to invoke app deploy toolkit.ps1. And the nice thing about the test ADT compatibility is that it will give you a grid showing you all the differences from version 3 to version 1. And if you just see on the next here, there is a picture of how it looks. So basically, when you run this PowerShell module, so first of all, you of course have to install it. But once you run test ADT compatibility, it's a very weird word to say, sorry. But basically here it gives you all of the things that you need to change or no longer available in the version 4. So this is very nice view that will give you all the insights you need before actually upgrading your PSADT version to 3 to 4. And next up, we have a picture of how it looks when you migrate. So basically what happens is that you specify your deploy application.ps1. And what happens is that the old version stays there, and then it will automatically upgrade to invoke app deploy toolkit and put it side by side by the old deployment. So you can actually see whether it's still the same or something has changed as well. But you also have the possibility on the next picture here to convert the whole deployment. So what I do when I create deployments is that I change the name to the app name. And inside of that folder, we have all of the things that Niklas showed previously about the PSADT structure. And what we can do is that we can convert it through this module. And once we have converted it, it will have the underscore converted. So we have still the old deployment, but we also have the new deployment as well that are converted. So that's really nice, and it's a fairly simple process to actually convert your old deployments to a PSADT version 4. However, on the next slide here, there is some limitations as well that you have to be aware of. So basically, there's some limitations about the config XML files. There are some things about customized assets and banners as well. So there are some things to be aware of, but all of the great things here are documented on the PSADT website as well. So it's fairly nice and easy to upgrade. So if you haven't done that yet, I would encourage you to do so in order to use all of the nice things from version 4. Yep. So basically now it's time to demonstrate how to build a simple Win32 app. And the reason why we're doing so is because the levels that you guys have or experience that you have with Intune might be different. So we are just covering how you can build a Win32 app, but also how you can build a line of business app. So let's take a look at that now. So I will just share my screen. So is it possible for you to see something? Can you verify that, Niklas?
I can't see it.
You can't see it?
Nope.
Just a second. What about now?
Nothing.
So I think Bojan and Marco has to help us a little bit to put the screen up. So now it's possible to see.
Yes, exactly.
So what I've done here is that I have downloaded Google Chrome, the enterprise installer, of course, because if you use the user installed one, it will not be a very nice result. So what I've done is that I've downloaded the enterprise installer, and what we're going to do here is that we're going to use the Intune Win app util, which is a tool that you use to wrap it as an Intune Win file, and that is needed in order to upload it as a Win32. So what we will do is that we'll double click on it, and then we have to specify our source folder. So our source folder is the Google folder. So I'll just put that in, and then we have to specify the setup file. And what I always do is that I remember to just quickly rename it, and then I can copy the name. Otherwise, I will spell it wrong. So I input the setup file, and then the output folder is the same as my source folder. You can create a separate output folder if you want to do that. And do you want to specify a catalog folder? You just say no. And basically what will happen is that it will compress all the things that are in this folder. And you can imagine that it's exactly like how you're zipping a folder. That's what it's doing. So it's zipping all of the content into one file. And once it gets deployed to a device, it will actually unzip on that device, and all the stuff that are included will then be unzipped and be available on that device as well. So what we will do is that we will jump into the Intune portal, and then we will create a new app, and we will create a Windows app, Win32 app. And then we have to select the app package file, which is here. And then it's already selected our name. So as Niklas said, don't just write app1, write the name of the app exactly. And then for the description, it's totally up to you, but it could be something like installation of Google Chrome version, just say installation of Google Chrome. And then the publisher could be IT, it could also be yourself, and I'm just writing my name. And then you can see here it's already grabbed the app version from the MSI file. So it's actually grabbed that and inputted it directly, so we don't have to think about it. So that's pretty good. And if you're a really great IT guy, then you have to upload a logo, but I actually forgot this time, so that's not pretty good. But remember always to use a logo, because if you're making it available in the company portal, it will have a nice shiny logo and not just look like all the other apps in there. So I will click next, and on here we have to specify our install and uninstall commands. So basically this is used for installing the app through Intune and uninstalling the app, of course. So as you can see already, Intune has done my job. So it's actually took the install commands and the uninstall commands from the MSI file directly, and it's using the product code here, as you can see, and it's using the /qn, which is a quiet installation. So this means that the user will not notice that the installation is happening. And what we can do as well is that we can change the installation time that are required. So if we have an application that takes a long time to install, then we can change it from 60 minutes to whatever we want to do. We also have the opportunity to allow available install behavior, whether it should be in system or user, the device restart behavior as well, and the return codes as well. And in here we have to specify our requirements. So basically what we can do is that we can check for operating system architecture. So we can allow the app to be installed on all systems, but we can also specify the systems that the app can be installed on. So it can be only installed on 64-bit or 32-bit or whatever you like. But this app can be installed on all systems, and then we have to specify a minimum operating system. And in our case, we want to specify Windows 11 because we've, of course, made sure that all of our devices are Windows 11 and we don't have any Windows 10 devices back. And then we have disk space required, physical memory required, and all of some great things here. So if you have an app that are requiring a lot of disk space, it might be nice to input how much space it needs or how much space is actually required before installing the app. And it's also possible to create custom requirement rules as well. So if you don't find something here that fits your needs, you can actually create it yourself. And next up is detection rules. And in here, you can manually configure detection rules, use a custom detection script, so you can upload your own. But I will just keep it nice and simple because, of course, I'm a lazy IT admin. So in here, the rule type, I have some different possibilities here. So I can pick MSI, file, or registry. So I will pick the MSI because I know that the product code has already been input here directly from the MSI file. So what will happen is that once the file or once the program has been installed on the system, it will look for this product code. And if this product code exists on the device, then it will be marked as installed. And if it doesn't exist, then it will be marked as not installed. So this is very nice, so you don't accidentally try to install Google Chrome on a device that already has Google Chrome. That could cause some issues as well and some calls to the support. So we will just say okay. And next up we have dependencies. So if there's an application that must be installed before our application, it's a possibility here, but we don't have any needs for that. Then we have supersedence. So basically it could be if we want to update an app or uninstall another app, it's possible to supersede the apps from here. So this means that we will go ahead and uninstall. It could be a previous version as an example. And lastly, we have to assign our app. So basically, there's 3 different options. We have required, available for enrolled devices, and uninstall. And basically, at all times, I would recommend to test your application before rolling it out to all your devices, because if you don't test it and just roll it out in production, it could potentially cause a lot of issues. But for this demonstration, I've only done it in my demo tenant. So I will just go ahead and make it available for all enrolled devices. So basically all users can go in the company portal and download Google Chrome directly from there. So I will click next and create. So basically what will happen now is that my Intune Win file is getting uploaded. And once it's done that, we can see our properties, and we can see the device install status and the user install status as well. And it will update this one. So basically, once it has been uploaded, this will be gone. And we will not wait for that, but that's basically how you create a Win32 app. So let's get back to the slides.
Yes, guys, this was one wonderful presentation so far.
We are not finished this yet.
Oh, sorry. This is what you need.
Great. So basically for the logging part in PS80T, we have the option to specify the log path. So by default, it will use the software log software folder. And if it doesn't have admin rights, it will use the program data logs on software. And it's possible to also change in PS80T as we showed before. So if you modify the config file, it's possible to do that. And as you can see down here, it's creating an uninstall log and an install log as well. So there's a lot of great information in these logs. And on the next slide as well, we can see what it contains. And one recommendation from me is that you use CM Trace. It's a nice tool that can actually display your logs a lot nicer than just Notepad. It can be a little bit confusing to just look in the Notepad. But basically here you can see like all the sections. You can see when it's happened, you can see which component or function it has been using in PS80T, and it's just really nice for troubleshooting as well. So yeah.
Very nice. Okay, and I will take over from here and show a short demo of how the line of business application work. This is quite a lot simpler. It should be running. No? It should be running now. This is just a video just showing how to do it. So I'll just pause it. So the first step we're going to do is define the MSI we have. And if the developers of the application have been nice to us, then we can use a /? to get the installation parameters that we need. In this example, we are using the quiet, so the user don't see anything, also called the silent deployment. And the difference here is that we don't need to package it in as an Intune win. We can just upload the application directly. And as Niklas also showed, app name, publisher, and so on. But we have a lot fewer options here. We need to put in our command line arguments, where, as Niklas showed before, the command line arguments were already predefined when we package it as an Intune win, when it's a MSI file that we're using. Of course, we can choose a category, so it shows up in company portal in that specific category. And as we can see here, we don't have the option to put in any requirements or supersedence. We can upload the application, and then we can put in scope tags if we need it, and then assignment, as Niklas also showed before, and then create the application. This can seem a lot easier than the previous, or a lot easier than the using the toolkit, but we also limited a lot in what we actually can do. So I wouldn't recommend using the line of business apps, also with the conflicts as Niklas talked about in Autopilot. So this is an option that we can use, but the recommendation is definitely to use Win32 apps. Yeah. See if I can get it to switch.
Great. So let's try to take a look at the last option here. So basically, we have talked about line of business app. We've talked about Win32 app. And lastly, here we just quickly want to touch base on the enterprise app management in Intune, which is a part of the Intune Suite license. So if we go to the next slide, we will see how it looks in the Intune portal. So basically, like we've picked line of business app, we've picked Win32 apps, we have the option to pick enterprise app catalog here as well. And basically what the enterprise app catalog is that there's a lot of pre-packaged applications already. And basically what you have to do is that you don't have to think about any configurations of the app. You don't have to think about wrapping it as an Intune Win file. And you even don't have to think about keeping it updated, because that's also a nice feature of the enterprise app management. So the catalog, in my opinion, is fairly big, but you can search for a specific app here. And then you can deploy it exactly like we've done for the Win32 app. But another thing here is that all the required fields here is pre-populated already. So this means that you can change it, but it's not recommended. So you don't have to do a lot of work. So it's fairly easy to deploy enterprise app management. So on the next slide, or the next picture, we can see how it looks when there is an update to our enterprise apps. So as we can see here on the overview in the Intune apps section, we can see that there's currently 4 apps with updates. And once you click that, we can see all our apps, and we can see the version that are currently deployed to our devices, and then we can see the latest available version as well. So basically, Intune is making us aware that there is actually updates, and you don't have to search the internet yourself. So this is nice. It's nice for us IT admins that are busy, but also doesn't like to do a lot of work as well. So it's fairly simple. So you can look directly into the Intune portal. So once you have to update your apps, it's actually also fairly simple. So on the next picture, we can see that once you update your app, you only have to press on the update option, and then you have the option to actually directly supersede an app. So this means that the old version will be superseded by the new version. So that's how the update process is working with Enterprise App Catalog. So it's nice. You don't have to upload anything to Intune, and you don't have to think about doing any configuration to the app itself.
Very nice. Okay, so if you, for instance, this is one of the things I started talking about at the first slide, but if you're missing the installation files, you maybe are coming into a new environment as a new IT guy, or you don't have an app repository. So someone has used the app deployment toolkit and haven't put it into your app repository. Then we have the options to retrieve the Intune Win file directly from the portal, or not directly, but we can get the files again, so we don't have to start over. We have 2 options. We have the tool Intune Win App Utility Decoder made by Oliver Kieselbach. I don't hope I butchered that name completely. He made a script that can download and decrypt the files. He have a blog post. Go for the one called Part 2, where he made some changes to the tool, enabling reverse locking in the Intune management extension to be able to lock more things, to get information, to decrypt and download your Intune Win files. It's a super cool tool, but read the blog post, because he also mentioned that we need to revert the changes back made in the management extension to make sure that information isn't stored in the log files on the PC. And we have a more simple option using robocopy as the install command. And we should have a picture here. The install command, as Nicholas showed when he uploaded the application, we can put in robocopy the destination of the files we want to put it. The installation here will fail, and that's okay, because that's not the purpose of this workaround, but the purpose of it is to get the files back, so we don't need to start over again if we have a lot of steps in the pre or main installation of the application. So the goal here is to just try and capture the files as we see here, where the files are copied back into temp folder. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, so I think that was it for the main presentation. So just some great tools for app deployment. So for PS, we have the PS App Deploy Toolkit and the docs, of course. And then we have the option to use PS Exec for testing in system context. And of course, also the Win32 content prep tool and CM Trace, which is a great tool to view logs as well. And also as well, lastly, we have some blogs as well if you want to deep dive into, or not deep dive, but learn how to deploy applications with PS80T, or just deploy applications on a fairly simple way, as I showed you today. So there's some blogs around that as well. So yeah. I think that was it. So yeah, thank you very much for
That's all.
for viewing our session.
Thank you so much.
Yes, this was a wonderful presentation, guys. We can surely move on to the Q&A part of the presentation. So to all our viewers, please shoot your questions in the chat and we'll try to answer them. I want to break the ice first. So I'm really interested in if an app fails to install on a device, how do you guys debug that? I'm really interested in hearing about that. How do you find the reason why it has not been installed or why it
So
failed?
Niklas, do you want to cover that?
Niklas showed some logging in one of the slides in the Intune management extension log. I think that was where we'll start looking into it as the first step. Yeah.
Nice.
I think one important part is that also you can collect the logs directly from the Intune portal, so you don't have to go out and retrieve the logs from a device itself. So you can actually retrieve it with a remote action. So that's also quite nice. So I think there was a question a little bit earlier, I think. So there was a question about how to update the PS80T. So we showed that, and you can use the PS App Deploy Toolkit tools module, and you can check whether it can be upgraded or not. And you can also upgrade only the PowerShell script, or upgrade the whole deployment as well.
There is a question from Per Weinman. Any recommendation about specifying the log path?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So yes, you can definitely specify that log path. Another thing you can do as well is that you can add what the diagnostics that are collecting from Intune. So you can specify that log path as well. So once you retrieve the diagnostics from Intune, you can get the log path as well. So there's two options to change it, or of course to add it to the registry, like what it actually collects.
Okay, great. So keep the questions coming. In the meantime, I would like to tell all our viewers about our next and upcoming event. That is on December the 11th on the topic Intro to Machine Context Protocol. It's a central role in modern AI pipelines by Frances Nicole. She has been a guest already on the show, so it will be fun seeing her again and talking about this new and innovative AI stuff. It's helpful for all of us going into AI or working with it. We have one more question from Sarah. What are the most common mistakes new admins make when deploying apps, and how can they avoid them?
I think avoiding them is making sure that the procedures are documented. So the things I started talking about, make sure that all the new employees get the procedures if they have been defined, like naming conventions, install parameters, and stuff like that. And of course tools.
Testing before production, right?
Yeah, that's also a good thing.
Anyone else, guys? Yes, thank you, Sarah. So I think it's time to end it here. Thank you all to all of you that joined us today. I had so much fun listening about Intune. It's a really new topic for me. And probably some of you had a lot more experience with it based on the questions. Again, thank you for joining. Thank you, the both Nicholases, for taking the time to present and share the knowledge. And yeah, Sarah, go right ahead. How can administrators minimize user disruption during large-scale deployments?
So I think I think it's the same, nearly the same answer as the question before. I think test it with a small group, test it with a broader group, and just do a lot of testing before you deploy to all users. I think that's the most important one. Do you have anything to add, Niklas?
I think you answered it very nice.
Wonderful. So thank you again to the audience, and thank you to you two guys, Nicholas and Nicholas. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Have a great evening.
Bye, guys.
Good. Bye.